Forensic entomology is a fascinating field that combines the study of insect with the pursuit of justice. It is one of the crucial tools in criminal investigation, providing valuable insight into the circumstances of death by analyzing the insects that inhabit and feed on the dead bodies, resulting in establishing the causes, place, and time of death through the examination of larval gut content, species identification, and developmental stage of insect found on decomposed body. Our discussion today will be based on an innovative approach in forensic science, as outlined in the journal article titled Use of Thermal Drone in Detection and Assessment of Larval Mass Temperature in Decomposed Rabbit Carcass, authored by Sheikh Muhammad Daud and colleagues. They have addressed a critical challenge in forensic investigation, primarily involving the effective detection of decomposed bodies. Thermal imaging provides a valuable tool for forensic entomologists and investigators to locate decomposing human remains, especially in cases where the body may be hidden or difficult to find through conventional search methods. Thermal imaging camera capture and create an image of an object by detecting the infrared radiation emitted from it, which is based on the object's temperature. This allows thermal imaging to detect different heat signatures from the surrounding environments. The thermal camera can pick up the heat plumes from the decomposing remains, allowing them to be located and identified. Insects, particularly fly larvae, are often the first colonizer of decomposing remains, producing significant heat as they form large aggregation known as larval masses through their metabolic process and frenetic movement as they digest their decomposing tissue. This heat, known as the larval mass effect, is higher than the ambient temperature and can be detected using thermal imaging. The objective of this study are to evaluate the effectiveness of thermal drone in detecting heat signatures from decomposing carcass by identifying and measuring larval mass temperature. Next is to determine the optimal operating condition, including the best altitude for drone operation to maximize detection accuracy. Lastly, compare the detection capabilities of thermal drone for clothed versus unclothed carcass and understand how clothing impact the thermal detection of larval masses.
Hi, it's Mashabika here. Now let's jump into the material and methods of thermal drone in detection of the larval mass temperature in decomposed rabbit carcasses. So now let's take a look for the first one, which is study site. The place that was chosen for this experiment is soccer field, which is flat, treeless, and covered with a carpet grass. It is 25.6 km north from the capital city of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Soil belongs to the red yellow podzolic type known as forest soil with a carpet grass. This region experienced a tropical climate which recorded a monthly rainfall. Minimum and maximum daily temperature is between 21.4 degrees Celsius to 46.6 degrees Celsius. Now let's move on to the animal carcasses. 27 healthy male European white rabbit with approximately weight of 220 to 270 grams were chosen as proxy for human cadaver. 24 of the rabbit were placed on the soil surface within 2 hours of the death, which is after euthanized by 5 milliliter of 200 mg phenobarbital injection. The remaining 3 rabbits were kept alive as a baseline for the normal body temperature and to differentiate thermal signature between natural variation and carcasses. 12 rabbit carcasses were utilized in each experimental trial. So as you know, this experiment to have 2 trials. Seed carcasses were wrapped in 100% cotton fabric and seed carcasses were left unclothed. So as you know, the cotton fabric was chosen because it was the most common fabric material used by Malaysians. The carcasses were placed alternately between clothed and the unclothed. Each carcass was placed 20 meters apart from each other and was well visible above using a drone. PVC coated wire was placed over each carcass to prevent any scavenging activities by larger vertebrate scavengers, but only allow insect access. Cage also fits to the ground with 8 pieces of metal plates to prevent movement by scavenging animals. PVC coating on the cage had no impact on the thermal signature of the carcass. Carcass were left in the field for 14 days continuously during each trial. Trial 2 commenced a week after completion of Trial 1 with the complete removal and disposal of the skeletal remains and was located 20 meters away from the Trial 1 location to ensure the independency of the generated outcome. Now jump to the sampling procedure. There are 2 types of temperature recording were obtained during the experimental period. A data logger IC4 Elitish temperature data logger was used independently to capture the hourly ambient temperature at the trial site for 24 days continuously. The larval mass temperature on all rabbit carcasses were obtained by placing a mercury thermometer directly into the largest maggot mass observed at an approximate depth of 1 cm into the body for 1 minute and repeated for 3 times. The temperature was recorded daily until there were no more maggot masses seen. DJI Matrix 300 RTK drone equipped with a thermal camera Zemius H20T was utilized to record the thermal imaging footage of the carcasses and their larval masses. It can capture and store data from its RGB zoom and wide-angle cameras. Thermal images were taken by the Zemius H20T camera on the Matrix 300 RTK all at once with just one click, featuring a remarkable zoom ratio of up to 200 times. The image capture can be analyzed using DJI analysis software, which provide temperature information such as the lowest, highest, and average temperature. Multiple flight attitudes were conducted to determine the optimal height for efficient searching with high accuracy. A minimum altitude of 50 meters was chosen. The thermal cameras measure height on an object surface without any disruption from the drone. The image recording were made on days 0, 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, and 14 postmortem for each trial, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The most favorable time for detection is when the temperature differences between carcasses in the ambient temperature are the greatest at early morning and late evening. There was 5 stages of carcass decomposition observed in this experiment, namely fresh, bloated, active decay, advanced decay, and the remain stage.
This is representative photographic image during rabbit carcass decomposition on the left and the thermal image on the right. This is observed over days postmortem during trial 1. Day 2 is an active decay stage that lasted 3 to 4 days, and large egg masses of flash Diptera califoridae with significant larval aggregations observed in the chest, genital, which is the private part, and the stomach areas for both. On day 7, the carcasses started to dry and their skin had darkened marking. On day 14, the rabbit carcasses were at the dry and remain stage. However, larval masses still present in clothed carcasses. The next one is the representative photographic image during trial 2. On day 7, the decay rate was higher after reaching the active decay stage, with both clothed and unclothed carcasses entering the dry and remain stage after 5 days. The dry and remain stage ended when the remaining Diptera larvae migrated away from the body. On day 9, newly emerged blowflies were observed on both clothed and unclothed carcasses. Lastly, these are thermal images of both trials 1 and 2 that were taken from an altitude of 15 meters. On day 2, large egg masses with significant larval aggregations were observed on both clothed and unclothed carcasses in trials 1 and 2, and all carcasses still fail to produce thermal signature. Prior to the formation of larval aggregations, carcasses were not readily detected by the thermal image due to the lower temperature of the larval masses and the average carcass temperature. Thermal signatures were clearly observed for both clothed and unclothed rabbit carcasses during the peak period of insect activity, which was on day 5 for both trials 1 and 2, and it was slightly reduced on day 7. On day 14, after larval aggregations were no longer evident on the carcasses, the mean carcass temperature decreased to ambient temperatures or even lower. This can be seen from the unclothed carcasses in trial 1 and both clothed and unclothed carcasses in trial 2. Unlike clothed carcasses of trial 1, larval masses were observed and there were sufficient heat signatures produced from the carcasses. Even on dry and remain stage on day 14, the carcass could be visualized by the thermal image with the presence of larval masses.
This research study highlights the influence of larvae masses decomposition of remains by using thermal drone. It is a successful study as the rabbit carcasses can be detected by drone during their decomposition state. The usage of rabbit is supported by the similarity of dismemberment between rabbit itself and human body. According to this study, there are 5 processes of decaying. The first one is fresh state, followed by bloated, active decay, advanced decay, and remain. The activity of insect is apparent during the active decay stage and starts during the bloated stage. The declining of insect activity can be observed during the remain stage due to the lack of food sources. The thermal drone has detected the highest intensity of the remains internal temperatures on day 0, 5, and 7. This is attributable to the high number of larvae during these days. Some maggots have been collected, which were identified as Chrysomia megacephala. This study also established the relationship between number of larvae to the temperature of the remains. So how does these two link to each other? The first one, older larvae generates more heat to maintain their temperature to survive. Hence, this factor supports the high temperature of the remains on day 7 compared to day 5. Secondly, during the 14 days of observation, the precipitation that occurred on day 7 leads to the enhancement of larvae activities and thus increase the thermal emission which are detected by the thermal drone used. By the given warm and high humidity temperature in Malaysia, there is an acceleration of larvae feeding on the rabbits compared to Europe, which may be at slower rate.
This technology has shown a great promise in forensic science, particularly in locating bodies and estimating post-mortem interval. Firstly, it is cost-effective compared to traditional method. One of the primary advantages of thermal drone is their cost-effectiveness. Compared to traditional method like helicopter or ground search, thermal drones are significantly less expensive to operate and maintain. This makes them an attractive option for forensic team operating on limited budget. Next, increase accessibility and safety for investigator. Thermal drone can access difficult and hazardous area without putting human investigator at risk. This is especially beneficial in situations where the terrain is dangerous or challenging to navigate, such as dense forest, rough landscape, or disaster zone. By using drone, forensic teams can safely survey this area from the air. Then lastly is effective in various environmental conditions. Thermal drone offer great operational flexibility. They can be deployed quickly and can operate in various conditions including different time of the day and diverse weather conditions. Optimal detection is usually achieved during nighttime when there is minimal interference from radiant heat sources. Apart from the benefits of thermal drone, this technology also has its own drawbacks which include the environmental interference. Despite their advantages, thermal drone can be affected by environmental factors. Direct sunlight, for example, can create a masking effect that reduces the visibility of heat signature from dead body. This interference is more pronounced during the daytime and can limit the effectiveness of thermal imaging. Second drawback is operational limitation. The height at which the drone operates can significantly impact their detection capabilities. While advanced drone can detect heat signature from higher altitude, the resolution decreases as the altitude increases. Optimal detection typically occurs at lower altitude, around 50 meters, but this can vary depending on the specific condition and the equipment used. The last drawback that will be discussed is technical skill requirement. Effective operation of thermal drone requires skilled operators who are trained to handle the equipment and interpret the thermal image correctly. This necessitates proper training and experience, which can be a limiting factor for some forensic teams.
Hi, my name is Alelena and I will be explaining about suggestions of improvements. So, this is actually based on the research that has been done. The current and previous study have demonstrated that there were many factors such as heat, larval aggregations, and ambient temperature. So these three factors actually were limiting the capabilities of the drone when detecting heat sources. So the study actually was conducted during 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. and the researcher found out that actually the larval aggregation activity was more successful during evening compared to the daytime. And the subtle temperature differences actually were able to discriminate it easily since there are no masking effect that was produced during evening. So the researchers actually have been suggesting two main points. So the first one actually, lower ambient temperatures can provide greater solutions to the thermal image. That means that evening is better during daytime since evening there are no bright sunlight, there are no the differences of thermal is lower than noon or in the morning. So actually this can bring advantage in the search mission. And for the second suggestion, the researchers suggest to conduct a blind experiment to stimulate real search and recovery missions by placing carcasses in an unknown places to provide and to help the researchers to understand the factors affecting the detection better when using the drone thermal for finding carcasses by checking the larval heat or the larval temperature. So this is for the conclusion. The study actually showed that non-invasive thermal imaging using drones can effectively detect heat generated by fly larval aggregations on clothed and unclothed carcasses. Aside from that, the thermal drone application can be optimized, and the researchers recommended that by considering all the factors discussed, such as environmental conditions, it can produce high contrast thermal image that clearly distinguishes the carcasses from the surroundings. As this is actually the first study using thermal drones to remotely detect decomposition remains in a tropical region, more research actually needed in this region to establish optimal operating guidelines for these techniques. Adding more, the researchers concluded that this method can improve the efficiency and the accuracy of search and recovery operations for human remains during disasters. They also recommended deploying drones with thermal cameras as a standard practice for first responder agencies. That's all. Thank you.